What are we? Are we the same as them, or are we their property? Why and who are they fighting for? Growing up in the South as a slave, I experienced harsh treatment. I hated it. I tried to escape, but always got caught. Every time I failed, there would be a mark on my back. Then I escaped, finally. In the North, blacks and whites are the same, people said. But are we? As I wandered around the big industrial cities, I was pushed down and down to the bottom level of the society, discriminated. However, there was hope. On November 6, 1860, Lincoln was elected as the president. He strongly believed that slavery was dividing the country. He disagreed with the unfair treatment of slaves in the South. Being frustrated from Lincoln's bothering, on February 9, 1861, seven Southern states, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, and South Carolina, formed the Confederate States of America, an independent nation dedicated to the preservation of slavery. Still strongly believing in the abolishment of slavery, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on September 22, 1862. On July 17, 1862, the Congress had approved the Militia Act and Second Confiscation Act. With these approvals, all the blacks were able to enlist, including me. I ran for the enlistment for my belief of equality and for the money. Soon I was assigned to one of the first all-black regiments in the North, Massachusetts 54th Regiment. Even though the North was on the black people's side, there still was intolerance in the troops. Firstly, the proud all-black Massachusetts 54th Regiment wasn't really an all-black force because the high-ranking military officials were whites. Secondly, many of the African Americans were not used in battles, since many troops in USCT, United States Colored Troops, were not trained. Finally, the pay was unequal. African Americans only earned $10 per month, and out of that, $3 was removed for clothing, which will make $7. However, the whites were paid $13 to $21 per month, and there were no withdrawal of the clothing allowance. So we protested for the equal pay. After the demonstration, African American soldiers would get equal pay, but they would still get fewer supplies. We kept fighting for the equality. As time passed, the number of the African American soldiers made up the 10% of the Union Army, with the overwhelming 163 units of 186,000 soldiers. On July 18, 1863, our regiment led the assault to take over a battery fort in Charleston, South Carolina. Having grew to hand-to-hand combat, eventually the North lost, but 16 black soldiers were bestowed the Medal of Honor for risk-taking bravery. At the end of the war, the overall death of the Union Army was 360,222, and a third of that was African Americans' death. We fought together courageously against the South. Lee surrendered on April 9, 1865, and the Confederates were back into the Union. After the war nothing much changed. Some slaves in the South didn't know about the war, or still wanted to be a slave. In the North, segregation continued, and my life was nothing but the same as before the war, unemployed, poor, and inferior.